the next 25 minutes, we'll take you on a comprehensive tour of New York City's relationship with cleanliness and public health. We'll explore the fascinating historical context, including how past crises has shaped today's policies, the modern sanitation innovation that keeps the city running, the crucial link between cleanliness and public health outcomes, the challenges and controversies that continue to test the city's resolve, innovative solutions and inspiring community efforts making a difference, the ethical considerations and the social implications of sanitation policies. By the end of this video, you'll have a newfound appreciation for the invisible army of workers, technologies, and policies that work tirelessly to keep New York shining. So buckle up for an eye-opening journey through the clean, and sometimes not so clean, streets of New York City. To understand the state of public health and cleanliness in New York City today, we need to take a step back in time. Our story begins in the early 19th century, when New York was a rapidly growing but dangerously unsanitary city. In the 1830s, New York faced its major public health crisis with cholera epidemics. Picture narrow, unpaved streets filled with garbage, human waste, and animal carcasses. The city's water supply was contaminated, and disease spread like wildfire through overcrowded tenements. It was during this time that the connection between sanitation and public health became undeniable. The cholera outbreaks of 1832 and 1849 were wake-up calls for the city. In response, New York established its first Board of Health in 1866, marking the beginning of organized public health efforts. The board was tasked with improving sanitation, regulating food and water quality, and implementing quarantine measures during outbreaks. A pivotal moment came in 1881 with the establishment of the Department of Street Cleaning, which would later become the Department of Sanitation. This was the first uniform sanitation force in the United States, and it began the Herculean task of cleaning up New York streets. The late 19th century saw more groundbreaking developments. The Tenement House Act of 1901 was a response to the appalling living conditions in the city's overcrowded apartment buildings. The legislation mandated better ventilation, access to light, and proper sanitation facilities in residential buildings that dramatically improved the living conditions for thousands of New Yorkers. Another milestone was the city's investment in clean water. The construction of the Croton Aqueduct system brought fresh water from upstate New York to the city, significantly reducing waterborne diseases. The early 20th century brought new challenges and innovations. New York City continued to evolve in its public health policies, establishing air quality monitoring systems and industrial waste regulations. During the Great Depression, the Works Progress Administration employed thousands of New Yorkers in public work projects, many of which focused on improving the city's sanitation infrastructure. This period saw the construction of new sewers, the expansion of waste management facilities, and the implementation of more efficient garbage collection systems. The post-World War II era brought its own set of challenges. The economic boom led to increased consumption and waste production in the city. In response, the city opened its first municipal incinerators and began exploring recycling programs. These historical efforts laid the groundwork for modern sanitation and public health systems we see in New York City today. They demonstrate a long-standing recognition of the vital link between cleanliness and public health, a connection that continues to drive policy and innovation in the city today. The challenges may have evolved, but the core mission remains the same: to protect the health and well-being of all New Yorkers through effective sanitation and public health measures.
Fast forward to today, and New York City's waste management system is a marvel of modern urban planning and technology. Let's break down the components of this complex system and see how it keeps the city clean and functioning. At the heart of NYC's sanitation efforts is the Department of Sanitation, or the DSNY, the world's largest municipal station department. Every day, DSNY collects more than 10,500 tons of residential and institutional waste and 1,760 tons of recyclables. That's equivalent to the weight of about 35 Statues of Liberty every single day. Let's start with residential trash collection. The DSNY operates a fleet of over 2,000 collection trucks that navigate the city's streets, collecting trash from over 3 million households. These aren't your average garbage trucks. Many are equipped with GPS tracking systems and onboard computers to optimize routes and track collection data in real time. Recycling is another crucial component of the city's waste management strategy. New York City has one of the most comprehensive recycling programs in the country. Residents are required to separate their waste into three main categories: paper and cardboard, metal and glass, and regular trash. The city has invested heavily in recycling education with programs in schools and community centers to teach proper recycling practices. In recent years, composting has become an increasingly important part of NYC's waste reduction efforts. The city's organic waste collection program has been expanding, with brown bins for food scraps and yard waste becoming a common sight in many neighborhoods. This organic waste is turned into compost for use in parks and gardens across the city, or into renewable energy through anaerobic digestion. Street cleaning is another vital aspect of keeping New York clean. The DSNY operates a fleet of mechanical street sweepers that clean more than 6,300 miles of streets and 25,000 corners every week. These machines use water and rotating brushes to remove litter and debris from the streets, significantly reducing air pollution from dust and particulate matter. The subway system, the lifeblood of New York City, has its own dedicated cleaning crew. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority, or the MTA, employs thousands of workers who clean stations, tracks, and train cars around the clock. In recent years, especially in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the MTA has introduced new technologies like UV light sanitizing devices for more thorough cleaning of subway cars. New York City is also at the forefront of implementing smart waste management technologies. For example, the city has been piloting AI-powered trash bins in high-traffic areas. These bins use sensors to monitor fill levels and can compact trash automatically, allowing them to hold up to 5 times more waste than traditional bins. They also send real-time data to sanitation departments, optimizing collection routes and frequencies. Another innovative approach is the use of pneumatic waste collection systems in some newer developments. These systems use a network of underground tubes to transport waste directly from the buildings to central collection points, reducing the need for traditional garbage trucks on the streets. The city is also exploring ways to convert waste into energy. The Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant in Brooklyn, for instance, uses anaerobic digestion to convert sewage sludge into biogas, which is then used to heat homes and generate electricity. Managing waste in a city of New York's size is an ongoing challenge, but it's one that the city continues to meet with innovation and determination. From the humble garage can to high-tech smart bins, from traditional recycling to cutting-edge waste-to-energy technologies, New York City's modern sanitation systems are a testament to human ingenuity and the ongoing commitment to public health and cleanliness.
The connection between cleanliness and public health in New York City is profound and multifaceted. Let's explore how the city's sanitation efforts directly impact the health and well-being of its residents. First and foremost, effective waste management and street cleaning plays a crucial role in disease prevention. When garbage is left to accumulate, it becomes a breeding ground for disease-carrying pests like rats and mosquitoes. New York City history with diseases like typhoid and yellow fever in the 19th century served as a stark reminder of the importance of proper sanitation. Take, for example, the case of leptospirosis, a bacterial disease that can be spread through rat urine. In 2017, there was an outbreak in the Bronx, highlighting the ongoing need for rigorous pest control and sanitation measures. The city responded with increased trash collection and pest control efforts in affected areas, demonstrating the direct link between sanitation and disease prevention. Air quality is another critical aspect of public health that closely ties to cleanliness. Regular street cleaning helps reduce particulate matter in the air, which can exacerbate respiratory conditions like asthma. New York City has made significant strides in improving the air quality over the past few decades, partly due to better sanitation practices and partly due to stricter emission regulations. New York City's water is renowned for its high quality thanks to a combination of protected watersheds, upstate, and advanced treatment facilities. Let's look at how New York City Department of Environmental Protection shows scrutiny over this matter.
Nearby, another scientist, Justin Zimmerman, is testing the water and gathering samples at the creek.
Our scientists are going out and taking bottles like this and grabbing about 60,000 samples a year, okay? And then they take them back to the lab and they're analyzed 600 to 700,000 times a year. That means we're testing it almost 2,000 times a day. You're talking about a massive amount of data that we're gathering, interpreting, and using to make decisions about how we operate the water supply. All the decisions we make are based on sound science. This is the sound science.
This clean water supply is crucial in preventing waterborne diseases and promoting overall public health. The city's recycling and composting program also have indirect health benefits. By reducing the amount of water sent to landfills, these programs help minimize the release of harmful greenhouse gases and leachate that can contaminate soil and water sources. Mental health is another often overlooked aspect of public health that is influenced by cleanliness. Studies have shown that living in a clean, well-maintained environment can reduce stress and improve overall mental well-being. Conversely, littered and neglected areas can contribute to feelings of depression and anxiety. New York City has launched several public health campaigns that tie directly into cleanliness and sanitation. For instance, the Rat Academy program educates residents and building managers on proper waste management to reduce rat population. Another initiative, Clean Streets Equal to Clean Beaches, highlights how street litter can end up polluting the city's beaches and waterways, affecting both environmental and public health. The COVID-19 pandemic brought the importance of cleanliness and public health into sharp focus. The city ramped up its cleaning efforts in public spaces, introducing hand sanitizing stations in subway stations and launching extensive public education campaign about hygiene and disease prevention. However, it's important to note that the health benefits of cleanliness are not always equally distributed across the city. Some neighborhoods, particularly in lower income areas, face greater challenges in maintaining cleanliness and consequently may experience poorer health outcomes. The disparity highlights the need for equitable sanitation service across all boroughs and neighborhoods. In recent years, New York City has been taking a more holistic approach to public health, recognizing that factors like cleanliness, access to green space, and air quality are all interconnected. The City One NYC plan, for instance, sets ambitious goals for reducing waste, improving air quality, and creating a more sustainable and healthy city for all residents. From preventing disease outbreaks to promoting mental well-being, the city's sanitation efforts play a crucial role in protecting and improving the health of millions of New Yorkers every day.
Despite its impressive sanitation system, New York City faces numerous challenges and controversies in maintaining cleanliness and public health. Let's explore some of these issues. One of the most pressing challenges is the sheer volume of waste generated by the city's massive population. With over 8 million residents and millions of daily commuters and tourists, New York produces an enormous amount of trash. This puts constant pressure on the city's waste management infrastructure and requires innovative solutions to handle the ever-growing waste stream. Inequitable sanitation services between boroughs is another significant issue. Historically, some neighborhoods, particularly in areas of Brooklyn and the Bronx, have received less frequent trash collection and street cleaning services compared to more affluent areas of Manhattan. This disparity not only affects the cleanliness of these neighborhoods, but also has implications for public health and quality of life. Illegal dumping is a persistent problem, especially in industrial areas and vacant lots. Despite hefty fines and increased enforcement efforts, some individuals and businesses continue to dispose of waste illegally, creating eyesores and potential health hazards. The city's recycling program, while extensive, faces its own set of challenges. Contamination of recyclables with non-recyclable items is a significant issue, reducing the efficiency of the recycling process and increasing costs. There's an ongoing need for public education about proper recycling practices. New York's plastic bag ban, implemented in 2020, has been a source of controversy. While aimed at reducing plastic waste, it has faced criticism from some residents and businesses who argue it creates inconvenience and additional costs. However, supporters point to the significant reduction in plastic bag waste since the ban's implementation. Climate change poses new challenges for the city's sanitation efforts. More frequent and severe storms can overwhelm the city's sewer system, leading to flooding and the spread of contaminated water. The city is working on upgrading its infrastructure to be more resilient, but it's a costly and time-consuming process. The city's composting program, while growing, has faced setbacks.
Budget costs during the COVID-19 pandemic led to a temporary suspension of the program, highlighting the vulnerability of newer initiatives to economic pressures. Rat infestations continue to be a major issue in many parts of the city. Despite various control measures, including the use of dry ice to suffocate rats in their burrows, the problem persists, partly due to improper waste storage and disposal practices. The rise of e-commerce has led to a significant increase in packaging waste, presenting new challenges for the city's waste management system. The city is exploring ways to address this, including partnerships with major retailers to reduce packaging and improve recycling. Balancing sanitation needs with other urban priorities is an ongoing challenge. For instance, the placement of trash cans can sometimes conflict with bike lanes or pedestrian spaces, requiring careful urban planning. Lastly, the issue of environmental justice looms large. Lower income neighborhoods often bear a disproportionate burden of the city's waste management infrastructure, with transfer stations and processing facilities more likely to be located in these areas. This raises important questions about equity and fairness in the city's approach to sanitation. These challenges and controversies highlight the complex nature of maintaining cleanliness in a city as large and diverse as New York.
The Department of Sanitation's Zero Waste Schools initiative works with public schools to implement comprehensive recycling and composting programs, teaching students about waste reduction from an early age. In the fight against litter, the city has launched creative campaigns like Don't Trash Our Litter, which uses eye-catching street art and social media engagement to discourage littering. This approach combines public art with environmental messaging, making the anti-litter message more engaging and more memorable. Innovative solutions are also being applied to specific waste streams. For example, the city has partnered with companies to recycle old mattresses, a notoriously difficult item to dispose of. These programs not only divert waste from landfills, but also create jobs in the recycling sector. Technology is being leveraged in other ways as well. The Don't Litter app allows citizens to report litter and illegal dumping directly to the Department of Sanitation, streamlining the cleanup process and engaging the public in keeping their neighborhoods clean. On the energy front, the city is exploring ways to convert waste into usable energy. The Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant, for instance, uses anaerobic digestion to convert sewage into biogas, which is then used to heat homes and generate electricity. Lastly, community composting initiatives have already taken root across the city. Local composting sites, often in community gardens or parks, allow residents to compost their food scraps close to home. These programs reduce waste sent to landfills while producing valuable compost for local green spaces. These innovations and community efforts demonstrate that keeping New York City clean is not just the responsibility of the sanitation department, it's also a collective effort involving the governments, businesses, and the citizens themselves. By combining cutting-edge technology with grassroots community action, New York is paving the way for a much cleaner, much more sustainable urban future. As we've explored the various aspects of public health and cleanliness in New York, it's important to consider the ethical and social implications of these issues. Sanitation and public health are not just matters of logistics and technology. They're deeply intertwined with questions of social justice, equity, and community well-being. First and foremost, we must consider the ethical imperative of ensuring equitable access to sanitation services. Clean streets, regular trash collection, and access to recycling facilities should not be luxuries reserved for wealthy neighborhoods. Yet, as we've discussed, there are often disparities in sanitation services between different areas of the city. This raises important questions about environmental justice and the fair distribution of public resources. The concept of environmental justice is particularly relevant when we look at where waste management facilities are located. Historically, transfer stations, incinerators, and other potentially hazardous facilities have been disproportionately placed in low-income neighborhoods and communities of color. This pattern perpetuates cycles of inequality and raises serious ethical concerns about who bears the burden of the city's waste. There's also the question of individual responsibility versus systematic efforts. While it's important for individuals to take responsibility for their own waste and not litter, we must also recognize that systemic issues often contribute to cleanliness problems. For instance, a lack of public trash cans in certain areas or insufficient education about recycling can make it very difficult for even well-intentioned individuals to dispose of waste properly. The issue of homelessness also intersects with public health and sanitation in very complex ways. Unhoused individuals often lack access to basic sanitation services, which can lead to public health issues in general. How can the city balance the need for clean public spaces with compassion and support for its most vulnerable residents? Privacy concerns also come into play with some of the new technologies being implemented. Smart bins that collect data, apps that allow citizens to report litter, and other tag-based solutions can improve cleanliness, but they also raise questions about data collection and surveillance in public areas. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the critical importance of public health and sanitation, but it has also exposed very clear inequalities. Some neighborhoods were hit harder with the virus, often correlating with areas that have historically received less investment in public health and sanitation infrastructure. As the city implements new policies and technologies to improve cleanliness, there's an ethical obligation to ensure that these changes don't disproportionately burden or exclude certain communities. For example, as the city moves towards more digital solutions, how can it ensure that elderly residents or those without easy internet access aren't left behind completely? There's also a very big intergenerational ethical consideration. The choices we make today about waste management and environmental protection will have very long-lasting impacts on future generations of New Yorkers. This adds a very thick layer of responsibility to current decision-making processes. Lastly, we must consider the global ethical implications of our local actions. New York City's waste doesn't just disappear, it often ends up in landfills, in recycling facilities in other parts of the country, or even around the whole world. This raises questions about the city's responsibility to minimize its environmental impact beyond its own borders. In conclusion, maintaining public health and cleanliness in New York is not just a logistical challenge, it's a complex ethical and social issue that touches on the fundamental questions of justice, inequality, and community responsibility.
As we conclude our journey through the complex world of public health and cleanliness in New York City, let's recap the key points we've covered. We've explored the rich historical context that has shaped today's sanitation policies, from the cholera outbreaks of the 19th century to the establishment of the Department of Sanitation. We've marveled at the modern sanitation systems that keep this massive city functioning, from high-tech garbage trucks to innovative recycling programs. We've examined the crucial link between cleanliness and public health outcomes, understanding how sanitation efforts directly impact the well-being of millions. We've confronted the ongoing challenges and controversies, from inequitable services to the complexities of waste reduction in a city of this scale. We've been inspired by innovative solutions and community efforts that are making real difference in neighborhoods across the five boroughs. And we've grappled with the ethical considerations and social implications of how we manage public health and cleanliness in our diverse city. The story of cleanliness in New York is ongoing, and each of us has a role to play in shaping its next chapter. So, what can you do to contribute to a cleaner, healthier New York? 1. Reduce your personal waste. Embrace reusable items, be mindful of packaging, and try composting if you can. 2. Educate yourself and others about proper recycling practices. Small actions, when multiplied across millions of residents, can have a huge impact. Participate in community cleanups. Join or organize local efforts to keep your neighborhood clean. 4. Advocate for better policies. Contact your local representatives to support initiatives for equitable sanitation services and innovative waste management solutions. 5. Support organizations working towards a cleaner New York City. Whether through volunteering or donations, your support can make a difference. 6. Stay informed about sanitation issues in your community and be part of the conversation about solutions. Remember, a cleaner New York City means a healthier New York City. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about creating a better quality of life for all New Yorkers, present and future. Every piece of litter picked up, every item properly recycled, every voice raised in support of better sanitation practices contributes to this goal. As we face the challenges of the 21st century, from climate change to the public health crisis, the importance of maintaining a clean and healthy urban environment has never been clearer. Let's work together to ensure that New York City remains not just the greatest city in the world, but also one of the cleanest and healthiest.
Now that our main presentation is done, let's answer some common questions about sanitation in New York. Why is littering such a big problem when technology has become so advanced? As much technology as we can make, it's ultimately up to the people to make the first move. We can make all the smart trash bins and all the new technology we want, but it's not going to matter in the long run if we don't do the first move. The first step to anything when it comes to a cleaner New York City is educating the people first. The city has taken steps to reduce plastic waste with the ban bag and other policies, but isn't that just a drop in the ocean compared to the global waste crisis? I mean, it's understandable to feel that way, but your small actions can create such a big ripple effect, not just for New York City, but for the entire world. If everybody did what seems like a small drop in the ocean, we would have a completely different world in just 5 to 10 years. How does climate change come into play for waste in New York City? Climate change is our biggest opponent when it comes to safety and sanitation. The best thing you can do is try to make at least some effort, because it's always going to be better than doing nothing at all. And that wraps it up. When we combine education with a sense of duty and community responsibility, we can transform New York City from a dump to a cleaner dump. We hope you've taken something away to use in your daily life. Thank you.